Good morning, everybody. I think it's time to start. I wanted to welcome every one of you to this graduate orientation, where we are going to talk about these two new programs. This is the first time. This is the first semester for these two programs: the Master of Science in Wireless and Network Engineering and the Master of Science in Internet of Things. You are the very first cohort of students admitted to these programs, and today we, especially myself, Professor Stefano Lasagna, and Professor Giuseppe Giornet, who coordinated all of the work around getting this program started, are here today to introduce you to both the topics, the aim, the objectives, and to hopefully the outcome, right? What can you expect from taking this program and what's in it for you, really? This is a welcome again event. I hope you are enjoying some refreshment too, and a little welcome bag from the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things. Northeastern has many units, especially academic units like traditional colleges, like the College of Engineering, with their department, like the Electrical and Computer Engineering department, but it also has this kind of orthogonal organization called the institutes that are built around specific research teams or teams in general to learn about. And one is the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things. Professor Tommaso Melodia is the director, and Professor Giornetti, one of the associate directors, and so on. And on this note, by the way, I wanted to introduce you to two people that being with us, you being with us and interacting with us, you might have something to do with, which is Rina Cash and Noah Smith. They are some of in the administration of the Institute, and many of the events that we will organize and that you will be invited to participate to will be coordinated by them. So, for logistical stuff and access to some professors and so on, remember those smiley faces, Rina and Noah in particular. The Institute started talking to the department about creating these two masters, because we have a lot of professors with great expertise in the field of the Internet of Things, in the field of computer networks, and especially wireless network. And that's why Professor Giornet and I, along with our colleagues, of course, and the department, we developed these programs. But before starting talking about the programs specifically, I would like to introduce and welcome Professor Srinivasa Tadigadappa, which is the department chair, the chair of the Electrical and Computer Engineering department, just to offer you a welcome, because these programs are housed in our department.
All right. Welcome all. I'm Srinivasa Tadigadappa. It's my pleasure to welcome you all again back to what Stefano just said. These programs, the two master's programs that we're talking about, Stefano and Giuseppe have been working for the last 1.5 years in designing them, planning them, and we're really excited that these two programs are now available and are being executed at this time. I think these are two wonderful, very topical areas. All of you know about all of the work that's going on in communications right now, 5G, 6G. So you will be working with faculty who are world-renowned experts in these fields. Some of the courses that you will have access to will be very unique to Northeastern. You really are looking at the particular institute you're looking at, the Wireless Internet of Things Institute, is one of the best in the world. And some of the capabilities are unique in the whole world. And so as you spend your time over the next 2 years working with them, try to make the most out of faculty you have. My office is right across from this conference room. Over the next 2 years, if you have any issues that come up, one way or the other, please feel free to reach me out. Of course, they are the better ones than I am, because they will solve your problem, but I will hear your problem, okay? So, in the end, I will pass it back to them. So that's what I'm good at. But nonetheless, I'm here to support you. We are all here to support you. And over the next 2 years, I hope you have wonderful time, and not only in what you're learning in your curriculum, but also through experiences in Boston and competition. We are here to make your life as exciting as is possible over the next 2 years. Okay. So with that, I will say welcome to you all again, and then I will let them take over with the program.
Thank you, Srinivas. As Srinivas said, feel free to reach out, but for most of the problems that our graduate students have, the department has a very valuable resource, which is Peter Kravka. You will hear from him more in this presentation today, which is again the assistant director of all graduate program, very many, by the way, beyond these two masters here. And both the institute, the department, and so these two programs are housed in the College of Engineering. Our dean is Gregory About, and the college is in fact very important for all our programs because the academic advising and this, especially the co-op advising, resides at the college level. So you will be interacting with them whenever you have, and of course with Peter, whenever you have questions that concerns advising in general, and also how to apply for co-op. In fact, Leslie and Rachel, sorry, and Rachel are here today to talk to us about the services that advising and especially the co-op department provide to our students. So with this, I would like to ask my friend and colleague Joseph to provide us a brief introduction on what led us, what prompted us to create these two programs. Why these two programs to begin with? Why two? And what are the prompts that provided us with the ideas of creating these programs?
So I believe that if you're here, it's because you understand the impact that wireless technologies has in your life, in our society, right? And sometimes we think of wireless communication, connectivity to internet. We think of something as basic as having electricity and water at home. But the reality is that, sure, the electricity and water supplies at home are needed and are basic and you expect them. But if you think what we're expecting from our internet connection, not just at home, but anywhere where we can be on the wall, is much more than that. It keeps changing, keeps evolving. There are new applications these days. That the application that everyone thinks is, extended reality in the metaverse. You pick your favorite application. The key idea here is that wireless technology is changing our society, and with that comes a huge opportunity for jobs. We're talking about provisions of 5 million jobs in the next decade, only in the US. And again, you may want to stay in the US, you may not want to stay in the US. That's only in the US, over 5 million jobs that will affect 100% of the national economy, everything. Now, what's the challenge? Well, the challenge is to, as part of the institute, we interact with many companies, your favorite ones. You'll see some logos later today. And they keep coming to us. Hey, Stefano, Giuseppe, we need people who we can hire right away and can start working on not your old-fashioned internet, but the problems of 6G, the problem of satellite networks, intra-body networks, quantum networks. We need experts. Where do we find that? Well, we are an academic institution. Our whole point is to prepare what the society needs. And our whole point is to make sure that you are what the society needs in 1.5 years or 2 when you graduate.
Yes. At this point, again, two programs have been introduced and are starting with you right now within the department and among other departments throughout the university. The first one we want to introduce you to is the Master of Science in Wireless and Network Engineering. The department, in fact, has always had interest in these technologies, wireless especially. And we do have in the Master of Electrical and Computer Engineering a concentration on this. And that's what Giuseppe and I draw strength, from in the designing this program. We realized that most of our programming networking were really of two kinds. One was more into the computer engineering side of the house and was more concerned with software and protocol design and so on. And the other one instead was mostly concerned with communication, the hardware and the actual physical technology that allow devices to communicate to each other. But the point is that we said the modern engineer, the modern networking engineer should be aware of both these aspects of networking. The physical layer aspect, as we call them in networking, as we could learn soon enough, and the protocol design that informs all the devices, and so this, the operating system and the software, the protocols that make networking work. Of course, as Giuseppe just said, the true motivation to create this kind of professional figures, professional engineers, was the fact that the society is moving towards increasing connectivity, right? That's what we call the hyper-connected society. Because as he was saying, we cannot imagine our lives without being able to communicate locally and especially globally. So we created this program, which is about the present, of course, learn what has been done and what it is, and especially the future of wireless and wired communication networks. The program, of course, is made up of coursework, but there will be also the opportunity to join the research team of one of the many professors in this field for a master's thesis, especially for those of you who are maybe thinking to something a little bit more in depth, and especially maybe in the future for a PhD. This is one of the possibilities of this program. And the two co-op and the connection that the Institute has with very many companies in the field, of course, to gain some work experience and industry experience in general. And in fact, these are the two options for those students. Some of you are, again, admitted to this program, wireless and network engineering, that you can have. The first option is just to take enough semester hours to earn your degree. The course on the track requires you to take 8 courses in the next couple of years. In particular, 8 of these credits, which means 2 courses, should be selected from what we defined as core classes. And the remaining 6 classes should be from the so-called concentration courses, as we call them right now, and that are a list of courses that we provide to you and that you can choose from. So 8 classes will allow you to earn a total of 32 credits or semester hours, as are often referred to as well, and to earn your master just through coursework only. The other option is instead to get 2 core classes, as in this case, or classes from the concentration courses, so electives, as they sometimes referred to, and 8 credits in form of a master thesis. And we'll mention to you how to approach these if you want to do so. What are for this master the core classes? We have 3 classes from which you have to select at least 2 that are considered the heart of this program. And as I was just mentioning, this includes both software and hardware in the sense of the communication technology. Wireless communication system is IEEE 576 courses in numbers, and the numbers, especially for graduate school, are in the 5, 6, and 7,000 range. It's a class of wireless communication systems. This concerns really how two devices can physically connect to each other and exchange data. And then there is a fundamental class instead that teach about protocols, and especially the internet protocols, but protocols that govern other form of networks, including wireless networks, EEC 7374, and EEC 7364 is about, in a sense, putting things together and allow those networks that we use every day, mobile and wireless network, including cellular networking, 5G, and all those new technologies. This is EEC 7364. Notice that this is really a fundamental class for those of you that have no background in networking at all. It's a very introductory, very core class for this master, and is offered every semester. We really strive to offer this both in the fall and in the spring. This is offered right now, and this will be offered also in the spring. And these two classes instead are both offered in the spring of 2024. So within the next 2 semesters, for instance, you have the opportunity, if you want to cover all the core requirement of this master. And then, without going into, of course, each one of them, here is the richness of the courses that you can elect to take in this general field of communication and network, wireless and network engineering in the course of your master. The color coding here again refers to classes that are offered both semesters. That's one, the purple patterns, and then we have some courses that are offered already right now, all the ones that you can see in red, and the green courses will be offered in the spring. Now, we plan to create in the webpage of the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things a live page that for each semester tells you which classes are available. We do this on a year-per-year basis, but it's very useful to know what classes will be offered this semester and the next semester, and so on and so forth. The Master in Wireless and Network Engineering has some of the concentration courses or elective courses that can be also taken from computer science. For this master in particular, you can choose any of these 6 classes to take. We advise our students not to take more than 2 computer science courses, but these are all allowed classes that you, whenever the College of Computer Science, called the Curie College of Computer Science, will offer them. You can have them, and you don't have to, for instance, petition to get these classes towards your degree. And now back to Giuseppe for an introduction to the master in the Internet of Things.
Excellent. So the second program, and again, I would say half of you are on this program, it's the Master in Internet of Things. So we are this is a program that is, again, organized by the Institute together with the Department of Electrical Computer Engineering in the College of Engineering, as well as the Curie College of Computer Sciences. Now, the program is effectively managed from our college. That's why today, independently of whether you are in the program of Master in Wireless and Networks or in IoT, you're talking to us, and you're going to be hearing from the college when it comes to student advising at co-op. So that's good. Now, the goal here is to focus on IoT. And what is IoT? What is the Internet of Things? Well, when we talk about the internet in general, we usually think of people connected to the internet. And the reality is that today there are many more unmanned, autonomous things connected to the internet that, well, we need to make the network so those are the things connected to the internet. So when we talk about the Internet of Things, we talk about, at the very least, 2 things. We're talking about the internet, the communications and the networking, but we're also talking about the things. And by things, I mean the embedded systems, the sensors that collect data from the environment, the actuators that trigger something on the environment. And because we're talking about autonomous systems that may be deployed in areas that you don't even realize, there are many things that we need to take into account. Communications networking, embedded systems, sensor design. but also other things that usually you don't get to see in an engineering program, as you will see in a couple of slides. The way for you to get to this program is going to be, again, a combination of coursework, supervised research. We don't call it master thesis here. You will see why, as well as industry experience through your co-op. Let me talk a little bit about the requirements. And again, this Stefano presented the requirements for the Master in Wireless and Network Engineering. And if you're on that track, that's what you should focus this first semester. Get at least on, ideally on 2 courses out of the list he showed you. For the Master in Internet of Things, again, we have 2 tracks. The course-only track, in which, look at this, in the Master in Wireless and Network Engineering, you just pick 2, at least 2 out of these 3, the rest is freedom. Here, actually, we're doing it a little bit different. Here, we're telling, no, actually, you're going to take 7 core courses out of the ones that Stefan and I have handpicked to make sure that by the end of the program, we know exactly what you have touched upon, and we can very easily market you. You'll still have choice of 1 course to be happy. And then there is the project track, in which, again, you have to take those 7 courses, and I'll show you in the next slide. And instead of taking an 8th course, you can do supervised research. The reason why we call this supervised research and not master thesis, because master thesis should be at least 8 credits. Here, there is no room in the program. You cannot go beyond 32, so that's what it is. But still, you will get to work with us if that's what you want. Now, what are these required courses? Well, let's start with the list. Look, we have a course which is core to this program, which is a course on wireless sensor networks. In other words, what we used to call the IoT 20 years ago, and the Internet of Things, what we call it today. This course is offered every semester. We know that this semester it's actually oversubscribed. I don't know what's the final count in the wait list. If you cannot get in now, don't worry, next semester you can get in too. We're going to offer every semester. As long, you should be able to see, sorry, someone who's colorblind, but we're saying 3 different colors for 3 different categories. Purple means both semesters. Now, you have to take this or this. Now, you have to take 1 course in communications, and you can decide if that's more closer to the physical layer, to the propagation, to the modulation, so that would be wireless comm systems, or you want that to be closer to the protocols. Maybe you want to take them both. Well, remember you have room for 1 elective, so you could do that. These 2 courses are going to be offered next semester in the spring. That's fine. Now, we need you to take 1 course on algorithms. You will say, I already know algorithms. Why do I need to do that in the IoT? Well, you need to take 1 course in algorithms. You can take the one in our department. There are also options in computer science, but in any case, this course is offered both semesters. The reason why we ask you to take a course in algorithms is because this is a prerequisite for you to be able to take a course on data analysis and machine learning. Why do we want you to take a course out of this pool? Well, remember, the Internet of Things, it's nothing but a platform to collect data. What are sensors? Devices that collect data. The more intrusive, the more private the data is, the more value it has. So the whole point is that you collect data and then you analyze it, you process it. So yes, we'll need you to learn machine learning. So this is the requirement. In the Master in Wireless and Network Engineering, you can take any of these courses as an elective. There is nothing wrong with that. You are free. In the Masters in IoT, you are not as free. We are telling you that you really have to take one of these courses. Some are offered in spring, some are offered both semesters, some are offered this semester, and that's fine. Now, we said that the Internet of Things is 2 things. It's the Internet and the things. Where will you learn the things? We would like you to take a course on embedded systems or sensors, but not just programming the hardware, but actually understanding how the different components on that sensors could look like. And that's why we are asking you to take courses on, for example, micro electromechanical systems or MEMS. This is offered right now. There are courses focused on the transceiver, the communication unit on that. People who are teaching these are actually on sabbatical or medical leave, so this is not offered now, but you're here with us for 2 years, so don't worry, not now or next, but it will be there. And also, another thing that is important, if you don't want to go too deep into the actual hardware, you could always look at the integration of hardware and software systems. That's maybe more appealing to some of you. And again, these are things that will be offered. So I told you that there are 7 courses that you have to take. One from here 2, 1 from here 3, 1 from here 4, and 1 from here 5. What are the other 2 courses that you have to take? Well, welcome to the beautiful world of IoT. And as you said, there are many more things that, imagine that you have this brilliant idea of making a new technology or a new app that you want to do. We want to prepare you so you can actually go and become an entrepreneur, rich, and make a huge donation to Northeastern, or go solve, a big problem for free in whatever country you want. That's fine. Anything is good. So as part of this, we're going to make sure that you decide what you want to do. We are, for example, working with our school of that's business, the Morema Kim, in order to provide you with tools for introduction to platform business models or innovation for the next generation of product systems. These are courses not taught by electrical and engineering and computer engineering faculty. These are courses taught by our School of Business. People whose whole point is to teach you or to develop business. Let me just say one thing. It's much easier to train an engineer who has solid engineering foundations, business. So it's easier for me to, not for me, I don't know, but for someone to teach you business than for a businessman to learn technology. That's always going to be with you, so make the most out of it. Some of you, and we'll talk about that another day, some of you, after you graduate, may say, I really want to go deep into technology, maybe to an industry, maybe to PhD, that's fine. Some of you will say, okay, I'm happy with the technology, but I want to be rich. Well, maybe that's what you will do in a few years is an MBA. And here at Northeastern, we can offer you an MBA too, so we're good. The other course that I want you to focus, there is a course that, look, spectrum policy issues. And this is a course which is in ECE, taught by one of our colleagues, Professor Mike Marcus, who spent 25 years at the US Federal Communications Commission. Let me tell you the following. If you come up with a very cool technology, but you cannot legally use it, what's the point? It's great, you'll have a demo in your basement at home, but that's about it. So no, we're actually teaching you the tools, the mechanisms you have to influence the legality of the technologies you're going to develop. Of course, tailored to a wireless program. And finally, the seventh course that you will have to take, yes or yes, it's a course in security. Again, all these courses are also available to the students in wireless and network engineering. Do not think, oh, I'm in the wrong program. No, all these courses are available to you. What I'm saying is that in the Master in Wireless and Networks, you can decide to do them. For the Master in IoT, you have to do them, okay? And the one last is in security. What we think is important is that when you deal with Internet of Things, you deal with things that have physical dimensions, interact with the physical environment. So sure, if someone, gets your bank account information, that's sad. They will take your money, maybe you're rich, that's okay. But if someone gets the controls to your home, they might actually set up your house on fire and actually kill you. So there is a different notion of what security when it comes to IoT. Okay, so those are things that we'll cover. Now, there is one last slot. That was last slot that can be research with one of us, or could be a course pretty much on any college on campus, which that's amazing. With Stefano, we went through all the colleges and look at all the potential courses that relate to IoT. And what's the beautiful thing? That IoT is a technology, but then you apply it to many things. You may come to me and say, sure, I want to do more within engineering, and maybe I want to do some bioengineering applications of IoT, or maybe I want to make smart infrastructure, that's fine. And maybe you come to us and says, no, I actually care about the medical IoT. We have handpicked courses for you from health informatics or even nursing that have to do with IoT, data analytics, and the application that you choose. And we didn't put the list in slides because then it would take 2 hours. But we have that list and it will be in the website as Stefano mentioned. Why? Because IoT, it's really an interdisciplinary program. Now, okay, so we said in the Masters on Wireless and Network Engineering, you can do a master thesis. In the Masters in IoT, you can do 1 semester of supervised research, but to do research, you need an advisor, right? You cannot just say, oh, I'm going to do research, give me 4 credit hours. No, that's not how it works. You need an advisor. Now the question is, where do you find an advisor? If you're only taking 2 courses this first semester, it means that most likely you're only going to interact with 2 faculty this semester. That's not a pool that it's big enough for you to choose. So, well, let's don't forget how Stefano started this meeting. You are not just the students in ECE, you are not just the students in COE, you are the first cohort of master students who we consider the institute students. And by the institute, I'm talking about the Institute of the Wireless Internet of Things, or WIoT, and that's who you are. That's what you are part of. That's why you also met Rina. That's why also you met Noah. What does it mean for you? Well, what's the mission of our institute? Our institute has a very ambitious mission, but we're actually somewhere there. And it's not good that I say it, it's good that the chair said that. So, we're a leading institution when it comes to research and development of smart and connected systems. For us to be able to do this, we need students. We need students who are dedicated, who don't listen to academic advisors, who are willing to say, look, it's Labor Day, but I need to submit this paper by tomorrow. That's the people that we're training, because it's not just for us, it's for industry. And believe me, you have to work. And I'm going to be very honest. Now, we're a think tank in the sense that we don't just work on problems that people identify for us. We actually identify what the problems are for the next decade to be solved. For 2 decades, we work with government, we work with federal agencies. We teach problems and solutions. We get money from them, money that then we use to pay you to stay with us. All these things. And in the process, I just told you, right? Many of you will have brilliant ideas and maybe say, oh, I actually want to exploit this idea and become rich. I want to make a company out of this. We actually are a technology incubator with right now 5 spin-offs out of the institute. In terms of research, we're a wireless institute. So we work on next generation wireless, anything from 5G, now that's all, to 6G, to nano, bio, and quantum communications. We use artificial intelligence. For that, it's a tool. So we don't create new tools of artificial intelligence, but we embrace these tools to design intelligent communication and networking systems. The goal is to create a smart IoT systems, whether it's in health, in industry, in agriculture, under the sea, you pick. And let's be very honest, I think that everyone in this room understands that the major technology revolutions that have come in the wireless industry have come from the Department of Defense. So many times we are working with them and we are developing solutions for contested environments. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. The internet, what was the internet? It was nothing but ARPANET. So, and that was a network created by DoD. Now, it's not just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. You are at Northeastern. And if there is any word that you have heard probably since the day you applied, is that we are an experiential learning university. So we don't just conceive problems and try to, predict solutions. We actually implement them. We test them. We refine them. And to do that, we use nation-leading platforms that I know that your favorite institutions across the rivers wish to have, okay? They are actually here. I'm talking about, for example, Arena. This is an indoor network, fully programmable, bunch of nodes hanging from the ceilings. You can program anything. Right now, it's running a private 5G network. We have Colosseum, which is the largest emulator, RF emulator in the world. This was developed as part of a DARPA challenge, and then Stefano Tommaso has managed to convince NSF to bring it to Northeastern. This platform now is open to everyone. Underwater networks. We have, the leader in underwater acoustic communications, Professor Milica Stojanovic. She is one of your faculty in this program. Make the most about her unique expertise. People try to change topics. She has been, since her PhD days, working on underwater acoustic networks. No one has this type of platforms or knowledge. We have more than one campus. In our satellite campus in Burlington, we have an anechoic chamber where you can test pretty much anything you want. We have a drone cage in case you program drones, not just to fly, but to talk to each other, and something goes crazy. Well, we'll make sure we don't create any trouble. And eventually in our courses, you'll get to see Terra Nova. Terra Nova is the first and still today the only testbed in the world for terahertz communication and networks, which is one of the key ingredients for 6G. That's actually in my group. I keep saying we, who are we? Just again, I'm really bad with names, not so bad with faces. If you're anything like me, maybe you appreciate seeing some faces, then you'll find people in the corridors and you know that they are not random people. Tommaso Melodia, the director of the Institute, Kaushik Chowdhury, the associate director to the Institute. Tommaso works on absolutely many things, too many probably, ORAN, underwater, some terahertz with me, spectrum sharing. Kaushik, drones, anything that has to do with drones. Tommaso also does some drones, but Kaushik does a lot of drones, AI for wireless, some overlap. I'm only doing terahertz, so don't come to me if it's not high frequencies. Stefano is low frequencies. And I was spelling some of these names, right? Milica, underwater, Stratis, machine learning, Francesco, bunch of interesting problems at the intersection of machine learning and wireless, Dimitrios, networking systems, so at the higher layers, and a bunch of other people, including new people that we're hiring. This is not an institute that has existed forever. This institute was established in 2019, and we have been hiring
every year at least 2 people. Last year it was 4. So that's where we are. We work with companies. Those are the companies that come to us and says, we need students, we need people to work with us, we need people qualified to stay with us long term. So keep some of those in your mind when you look for jobs. Do a good job with us, then we'll be able to write good letters. Don't come to me and say, can you write a good letter? Well, what did you do? Oh, I have a GPA of 2.4. No, I cannot write a good letter. Okay. Now, so what is in it for you out of this institute thing? Well, in the institute, it's where most likely you're going to find a research advisor. But the problem is that if you go today to Dr. Chowdhury, Dr. Melodia, and you say, oh, I'm a new master's student, I want to work with you. They will say, who are you? I say, well, I'm one of the masters from the institute, fine. How well are you doing? Oh, I just joined here. So your first goal is, during this first semester, pick the 2 courses that you think you're going to do best, work hard, get a 4.0 GPA. That's a much better presentation letter for any advisor. And remember, even a master thesis, it's only 2 semesters. So do not rush things the first semester, just do well. Get your courses out, do well, show us. Sure, you can start talking to us, but it's going to be very difficult for you to convince anyone to hire you when you just came to the university, you're still calibrating expectations, we're still trying to see from you, but we're here. And of course, as we were saying, it's also a co-op opportunity, which I will not talk much because we'll have the co-op faculty coordinators to talk about it. So that's the institute, that's what you get out of it. But your first stop, it's 2 courses this semester, do very well, okay? With this, I would like to hand it over to the college and talk a little bit about the graduate student services, because again, for some of you, it might be easy. You just come in, you are going to do well in your courses. Some of you, it's might be a new university, a new country, new way of doing things. And for that, we have outstanding support from the college. So actually, yes.
That part of the college, of course, is a department that you are students in the student masters that comes fundamentally from the EC department. So quick self-introduction by Peter Krafka, which is our assistant director of graduate programs.
How's it going, everybody? You guys hear me in the back? My name is Peter Krafka. I'm the assistant director of graduate programs. And I'm going to be your referral source. I'll be the one who does more procedural work with you. So if you have issues with registration, kind of question between 2 courses, you can always reach out. I can try to push you in the right direction. Obviously, if you have course content questions, it's always good to reach out to professors. But any issues kind of going on, you're unable to register, you're not sure kind of what path you're going on, or you want to change programs or anything like that, always reach out to me. I do office hours by appointment, so always feel free to reach out. But the one thing I'm always going to push you towards is your graduate program guide. And that's really going to have the outline of your entire program. It is linked at the bottom of all of my emails. So I assume all of you got my email about what was going on here today. At the bottom was a graduate program guide link. Save a tree, download it, and save it to your computer. You don't need to print it off. And any questions you have, you will most likely be able to find the answer in there. It's going to have all the information that they just went through, all the courses, or the majority of the courses listed in there. Everything else will be on the website, which is linked. So if you download it, there's links within the GPG that you can click on. That'll bring you to more courses, more information. But like I said, all the information is going to be in there. If you reach out with a question that I know is on the GPG, I'll most likely be like, hey, it's on page 17, read through it, and then reach out if you have questions. But please reach out, look through it. I understand you're not going to memorize it. That's not what I'm trying to do, but I want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, looking through, finding the answers for yourself, and then asking how do we apply the question that you have, okay? So please, like I said, go through that first, reach out if you have questions.
We do have the link at the for your, and the last slide we have the link to the GPG.
Oh, is it on the last slide? Okay, we'll get there. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My office is right down here, so I'm here throughout the week. So feel free to drop in or make an appointment with me. And my goal is to support you every step of the way. I do have a more holistic advising, my master's in education with a focus in counseling. So I'm more of like a handholder, trying to make sure you guys are making the right decisions, right steps. But you know, you are taking the first step in your like professional careers by coming here, and you know, I want to make sure that you're understand the stuff that you're taking. So, like I said, always feel free to reach out. But next, Leslie, Peter. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi. No, it's just bright. Can you all hear me? Okay. My name is Leslie Winslow Keats. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Advising in the Grad School of Engineering. I think it would help me. Did some of you, I know you probably have been to many orientations now. So, did you all attend the orientation last Monday with the grad school? Can you just raise your hand just so I have an idea? Okay. So, a lot of this is gonna, and even if you were there yesterday at the ECE orientation, so some of this will be similar. But I do definitely want to piggyback on what Peter is saying. We are here to help you succeed, and we're trying to give you those tools to help you succeed. Peter and I really are focusing on the procedural side of things, so you can get through the academics and make the most of your time here. So our office is on the first floor of the Snell Engineering. You can't miss it. Some of you may have already been there if you were dropping off transcripts. So I do want to, we don't do walk-ins like Peter does. So just wanted to put that out there because we just don't have the capacity to do that. So that's just one piece. Do I just do the arrow key?
Yes, all right.
Okay. So Kirsten is my colleague who also will be working with some of you. She and I are working together to support ECE students. So. There. So one of the things you're going to hear a lot is these different terminologies, and they're used interchangeably. So we have this chart, and I recommend that you bookmark this website because this will help you understand. This will be a guide to help you understand some of the terminology that we use and what their roles are. So I know these programs are very interdisciplinary, and there are going to be registration errors. There will be. I will just say that out loud because so Corey has their courses, and they decide what programs can register for those courses, and they give priority to their students. So they have their own registration process for their courses. So that is something our office guides students through. What I can give is a very good tip. The schedule for the spring term, for example, or even the fall term, are always posted to the website at least 2 weeks before registration opens. So I encourage you all, especially in this program, because I see there's a lot of across college courses, is that you look at that schedule when it's posted and look at those course restrictions. So, and have a backup plan, because if you're picking courses in another college and they're not open to your particular discipline, you're going to have to wait for them to open that registration to you because their students get priority. So I just want to say that. I know there's a lot of collaboration going on between colleges, and we're making courses available to students, but some courses may not. The other piece that we help with is at the end of your term, at the end of your time here, we do a degree audit clearance to make sure your degree audit is clearing. The degree audit is a very valuable tool for you all to use. especially if you want to monitor your progress as you go through the program. So if you go to your student hub, you will be able to see this resource under registration. And the other piece that we focus on is academic probation and academic standing. I can't emphasize, if you're struggling, I know we talked about this yesterday, reach out to us sooner than later, so then we can help. So if we don't know what's going on, we can't help. So please, and then again, Peter and I work very closely on this. So this person is around the different forms. You'll hear the word petition. You'll hear the word registration, override if there's restrictions to courses in the College of Engineering. There are forms that need to be processed. And again, we're another resource. If you're not finding it in the ECE program guide that they have, or you're not able to find it on this website, please reach out to us and we will try to help you or direct you to the people that can help. So the reason this is highlighted, you click on the Boston Campus Advising and you scroll down to the electrical and computer engineering, you will see all the contacts for all the people that are here. So Stefano showed this earlier, but this is our email address. And this is, please do not email our personal emails because they will get lost. So this goes to a system that we have. So Kirsten and I can work together on all the student cases and be aware of all the history of communication that we've had with you. So it eliminates a lot of back and forth. It's our way of keeping streamlining things. We also do not use Microsoft Teams. So for student interactions, it helps us to have it here because then if we're out for any reason, other colleagues can be able to respond to your questions. So it's a way to make sure that everyone is getting the answers that they need and the help. So we do have virtual drop-in advising hours this fall. This is based on the academic calendar, is why we picked these dates. So, and basically what happens is you will log into your Zoom account with your Northeastern credential, and you'll be able to meet with me or Kirsten. We will be in breakout rooms. So if you have questions, that is a way to come in, get a quick answer. If you have like a 10-minute, then we can do that. We also have, we do have in-person, individual one-on-one appointments. And they can either be in person or virtual. Now, what's happening is I know you all know this. You'll see that there's not an advisor assigned right now. There will be. We're waiting. What happens here is we're waiting to the end of the add and drop period. So we actually know who is here for the term. So, and then we assign an advisor. But if you need to schedule a one-on-one appointment with us, you can always reach out to that COE ECE grad advising email, and we will set up a time to meet. So in October, once we assign advisors, you will receive an email from that advisor with this information. And you will then be able to schedule an appointment through Navigate with us. I think that's, yeah, it for that slide. So you all should have received an invitation for the orientation course on Canvas from the grad school. And just like the ECE's got their grad program guide that's specific to this department, we have our orientation guide that helps you through your journey here at Northeastern. Again, we don't expect you to memorize this stuff. What we're trying to do is create tools where you could find them in one spot. So you're not having to go all over the place looking for them, because there's a lot of information. So that's last. I'd just like to say welcome and good luck with your first term, and don't hesitate to reach out if you've got any questions.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Rachel Walsh-Peterson. I am one of the co-op coordinators in the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. Again, the ECE department will be your home department for co-op. So my colleagues and I will be the ones working with you throughout the co-op program. So today I want to give you some introductory information to the co-op program. As you get a little bit further into your time here, and particularly take the intro to co-op class, which I'll talk more about, you'll get all the detailed information you need to be successful in the program. But for today, I'll just walk you through some of the highlights. So first of all, why participate in co-op? So it is a chance to work full-time in your chosen industry. Co-op positions are hands-on. They're directly related to your discipline. It's very different from, an internship program you may have heard of before, where people are, making coffee and, running errands. It's not that. It is hands-on master's level work. So this will really enhance your resume, help you build your network, help you develop job search and interviewing skills. All things that are going to help you not only with your co-op search, but throughout your career. The master's program does go by quickly. You'll be thinking about full-time jobs before you know it. So all of these skills that you'll be learning as participants in the co-op program will continue to serve you well in years to come. And of course, it's also a chance to integrate everything you're learning in your academic coursework with real world problems and issues, and then coming back to school with what you learned out in industry, being able to share that with your colleagues when you're back. Great. So as I mentioned, I'm a co-op coordinator, which means I teach the intro to co-op class. I advise students through the co-op search process. So you will be assigned one particular co-op coordinator to work with. That way we can really get to know you, understand what you're interested in. While you're out on co-op, we're also here as a resource if any questions or concerns come up. Or ideally, if you want to come back and say, I had such a great experience, I want to share it with other students, which does happen frequently. For international students, we'll guide you through all of the procedures that you'll need to be in compliance with your visa status. We'll take you through all of that step by step. We also work with employers directly to develop job opportunities, and we post those in our NUWorks database, which is internal to the university. right, so this is our ECE co-op team. So you'll be assigned to work with any one of us listed here. Myself and Sydney Hodder are the ones who teach Intro to Co-op, so you'll likely meet us first, and many of you will work with us, but could be one of our other wonderful colleagues as well. Okay, so there are some eligibility requirements to be aware of that need to be met before anyone gets approval to search for a co-op. So one is taking that co-op course, which can be in either your first or your second semester. So the official requirement is having completed or be enrolled in Intro to Co-op. So I get asked a lot, should I take it in my first semester or my second? There's not one right or wrong answer to that. It depends on your schedule. It depends if you feel comfortable taking that on in your first semester or not. Some people like to take the class first and sort of have everything done. Others like to take it at the same time they're searching. Either way is perfectly fine. The minimum GPA requirement is 3.2. So very much in line with your goals academically for this first semester. We really want you to focus on doing as well as you possibly can in your classes. For international students, there is a language proficiency requirement. This should actually say 90 TOEFL for this semester. 95 will start next semester. 7 IELTS or 125 Duolingo English test. Credit hours is really in terms of timing. So you have to have 1 semester completed before you can begin searching for a co-op job, and 1 year completed before you can start working at that job. We have a great newly updated website I encourage you to look at. It has much more detailed information on all of this. If you Google Northeastern College of Engineering Graduate Co-op, it'll be easy to find. So definitely check that out. All right, so in that Intro to Co-op class, which some of you may be starting next week, we'll start off by going into more detail about how the co-op program works and what the policies and procedures are. And then we'll sort of kick off our primary content with resumes. We'll also talk about cover letters, including the use of ChatGPT, LinkedIn, networking. We spend a lot of time on interviewing, job search strategies and resources. And then towards the end of the course, thinking about making the transition to the workplace, thinking about professionalism, diversity, equity, and inclusion, ethics, etc. So the class meets if we're in a 100-minute time slot, we meet for 11 weeks. It's a 1 credit hour course. It does not count towards your 32 hours of graduation requirements. So if you take Intro to Co-op, you will graduate with 33 credit hours completed. But it does appear on your transcript with a letter grade and count towards your GPA. All right, so I'm going to show you sort of what the 2 most common schedules look like with co-op included. So again, here, 1 year of coursework with Intro to Co-op in either the first or second semester. And then as long as you're eligible, we do recommend searching for a co-op for the first time in your second semester. And then typically you'll go out on co-op after that, halfway through. So co-op can be 4, 6, or 8 months long. And then you'll come back for your final year of coursework. Alternatively, you can do your co-op after your 3rd semester, as shown here. So if you're not eligible in your second semester, you'd have another opportunity in your 3rd. Or if you search in your second semester and it doesn't work out that you secure a position that time, you can extend your search and continue to look during your 3rd semester. I do want to emphasize that you'll see semester 4 courses in both of these. Everybody does need to come back to campus after co-op to finish out your coursework and graduate from coursework, not from co-op. All right, so again, that's 4, 6, or 8 months. And those are aligned with the academic semesters as shown here. So January to June or July through December is most common. That's what most of the employers we work with are looking for. 4 months is also an option. Summer only positions have become more common, so that's fine as well. Or our longest option is 8 months. So taking advantage of the full summer in addition to an academic semester. And the duration is largely dependent on the employer. So it's something you would work out directly with the company you're going to be working at. All right, so here are a few employers who have recently hired master's co-ops. Of course, this isn't yet tailored to your particular disciplines, but you'll be leading us in that direction. So we'll get there soon. But you can see here, we have really extensive relationships with companies of all different sizes, locations, levels of fame. We work with everyone from very small startups to the biggest companies you'll find. So many of the employers we work with are in the Boston area, but you're not limited to the Boston area. You can do your co-op anywhere in the country. There's also a global co-op option if you're interested in doing your co-op outside of the US. I mentioned our NU Works database. You're welcome to go in and take a look at that. You can find it through the My Northeastern portal. Access to apply to jobs is restricted to students who are actively approved to search at that particular time. So you would get an error if you tried to apply, but you're welcome to go in and see what's there. One thing I want to make sure is really clear up front is for master's students, all work experience takes place through the co-op program. There is not a separate internship program. So co-op is the only way to get approval to work and to get CPT if you're an international student, which is the work authorization you need to legally work in the United States. Your employer may say your position is an internship instead of a co-op. That's fine. A lot of companies do use those terms interchangeably, but from our perspective, everything is going to go through co-op. All right. And it is one co-op per student. So that's something to be aware of. All right. So there are some things you can start doing to prepare now in your first semester. One is to be thoughtful about what you participate in this semester, because this is really going to build your resume for next spring when you start searching. So, seek out academic projects, research and leadership experiences that relate to what you're interested in doing. Join clubs and organizations. Really, the more you can be ready with a strong resume, that's going to be very helpful in your search. You're welcome to start thinking about what kind of work you might want to do, even what companies you might want to work at. And some people also consider working on campus. That's certainly not required. Certainly want your academics to come first, but it is an option. And then finally, I've mentioned a few times getting approved to participate in co-ops. So I want to give you some information about how that works. So we have an intent to co-op form that goes out 3 times a year, fall, spring, and summer. And so when you complete that form, that lets us know you're interested in participating in co-op. So it's very important to complete that. So for you all being in your first semester, The first time you'll see this is in November, when we email it out for summer, fall 2024 co-ops. So that form will be due the Friday of the first week of the spring semester in January. So then we take those forms the week after the deadline, we evaluate them all, assign everyone to an advisor, and let you know what the next steps are, to meet with your assigned advisor. Or if your form is not approved, we'll let you know that at that time as well. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Peter. These are very important pointers for you guys, because especially for those of you that are new even to the United States, not only to graduate programs, you might have a lot of questions. Again, a lot of information has been given academically, especially from me and Joseph, and of course from Peter, from Rachel, and from Leslie for what concerns. Right now, what you really need to have down is, of course, is to be sure that you are enrolled for 8 semester hours. So in our programs, even in the Master in IoT program, effectively 2 full courses, and then again start work on day 1. If you are thinking already about joining a group, it can be a research group, or maybe because you're thinking about a thesis or a project in the 2 programs, or as Rachel was just suggesting, a student group, some leadership position, anything that can help beef up your resume for when you're looking for a co-op job starting in the next summer. Make yourself known to us, but especially to the professors in your class, to the TA that helps, of course. You pass the class with a good grade, you need a good GPA to apply for co-op, and of course to be in good standing. As Giuseppe was mentioning before, the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things, but the department, the college, and in general the university, especially in the Boston campus, have a huge amount of resources that can really expose you and empower you with very many things. So whether it's research, co-op, or even you're already thinking maybe to a PhD, just reach out to any of us, but especially again, the professor in your class, those who teach and do research in fields that you like. So we are looking forward to seeing you soon in our classes, and of course on campus and so on. And reach out to us, to Peter, to Rachel, and to Leslie when you have questions, whether they are practical or academic, and so on and so forth. We have few for some questions now to me and Giuseppe about the programs, but especially also to, this is really a privilege. We are all very busy. They oversee hundreds. You know, this department has 300 PhD students and 600 master students throughout the country, not even just in Boston. So as you can imagine, Leslie, Rachel, and Peter, and of course us professors are fairly busy. So if you have questions, now is fantastic because you have full access to us. Yes.
So my program is currently post-based program, not a research-based program.
Perfect.
Later on, if I want to research-based program.
Soon enough, you can change your from coursework to thesis within the first 2 semesters, right?
If you want to change into the thesis, you need to find a faculty to do that first. Like I said, it's great. I don't want to do the thesis, but unless you find some faculty member to guide you, you're not really good into it. Okay.
But also, I think that there is a is there a deadline by which they should switch?
Yeah, by the end of the
Oh, spring. Perfect. Yeah.
then you have 2 semesters left.
Any other questions? Yes.
ask a question about the course selection. For example, I could select two courses this semester, and for example, over 2 weeks, and I think one of them is too difficult for me, and I want to choose another one. So can I cancel this registration about the semester one?
Yes, so the question concerned about, say, I chose my two courses, I started two courses and I realized that one of these two courses is either too difficult or maybe I'm not just that interested in that class. So can you have, especially if you're an international student, you know that to be in good standing, you have to be enrolled in two classes. You have to. But yes, you can change a class within a certain time. There is a specific deadline. They change every semester, but the advisor, of course, could immediately say when for this semester is the deadline. By that deadline, you can drop a class, so get away from the class without any consequences, without any grade or mark in your transcript. If you do it after that date, because for some reason you have to, there are consequences, right? There will be a W grade in your transcript, but there is a deadline. And also financial, right? That's very important because, of course, you pay to access each single course, and you should realize very soon whether you want to stay in that class or not. And if you're not, drop the class as soon as you can, because there is how long it is? 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
So what I would recommend, again, here's another tip, is go to the registrar's website and download their academic catalog. Because their catalog, what they've done, which is it's very interactive, so you can actually download, you can sync it with your calendar, so you can see when all those important dates are. So and there's two different deadlines. There's the add deadline to add a course, which is, I believe, September 19th. Off the top of my head.
Okay.
And then the drop deadline is September 26th.
Okay.
So that's
that's
something to keep in mind. They do the dates, they don't do them on the same day.
Okay.
So
that's any change, of course, in every semester, whether you want to drop a day. So in this case, you have two classes right now, you go to class, you want to change one, you can drop it. And if you drop it by September 26th or a date to be, of course, double checked, you won't have any consequences. But of course, then you have to add another class soon enough, in this case by the 17th of September, which will allow you to be in good standing, because again, you need to be enrolled in two classes. I think there are students, I don't think it's a good thing to do necessarily, that sometimes enroll in 3 classes. They go to class and then they drop one, the one that they are least interested in, and so on.
that's not what we always recommend.
No,
because
no,
then
no,
it
it's not a
takes seat.
recommendation.
It takes a
It
seat.
takes a seat. That's another thing. Now, of course, you just started, but moving forward, as soon as you know that the registration for classes for the following semester are open, be ready. Because some of these classes, especially for the students in the Master in IoT, many classes are from different colleges even, right? Different department. And for us, for the advisor, it's very difficult to make a case for you to access those classes. We are, quote unquote, we are all really on our own in that case. You know, classes, for instance, for the computer science department tend to fill up immediately. They have a lot of students, you have a lot of students. Sometimes they prioritize their students over other students. So be ready, because there will be classes you're interested in that you cannot get into because if you are too late. So that's why we have advisors, Peter, especially in the department, and Leslie and Christine, right?
Yeah,
Kristen in the College of Engineering, to remind you, be always sure to double check.
And can I just add?
Oh, yes,
Just
please.
add one thing. And when you're on that registrar's page, there is instructions, because this is especially important for those that be full-time status. On the registrar's page, they do have instructions how to simultaneously drop and add a class. So you
okay.
don't want to just drop a class and then you try to get into another course and there's no space. And then you're really struggling, or there's some issue that you can't get into. So I highly recommend that you go to the registrar's page and you can just, in their search function, you just, do drop a class. And they have instructions at the bottom how to do it simultaneously, do the drop and add simultaneously.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I want to ask profession. Your company usually a team to do a production. But as for me, I learn Internet of Things. In hardware, I'm not good as good at hardware engineering. In software, I'm not good as good at software engineering. And about data, I'm not as good at big data engineering. So, what kind of job do you want in the future?
Okay, so the question is, as of today, you're not very good on hardware or software or data, and that's why you're in our program, right? If you were already good at all those things, you wouldn't need us. Okay, so our goal is to make you good into one of those, maybe two of them, maybe three of them. It depends on how we pick courses. So for this specific question, what I would say is, set a time for Stefan and I to meet with you separately, or one of us, or both of us, we're very busy. And you can tell us a little more about your specific case, what drives you, and then out of the huge pool of courses, we can help people. For this first semester, I think it's quite clear, right? You need to pick two of the courses that are being offered, which are part of your requirements. That's quite straightforward. But I think that we need to identify where do you think you want to be. And of course, you don't know where you want to be because you don't know where the options are. We know, so we can help you. Right? That's probably not the concern of everyone. The goal is that by the time you graduate, you are confident. I mean, you're good and you're confident.
When you go to an interview, especially one of the companies that the institute work with, which are companies again in IoT, in wireless and network engineering, then you should be comfortable in sustaining a successful interview. That's part of our goal, of course. That is yeah.
So are you limited to 32 grades only, or we can take grades of our own choice? Would we collaborate?
So the question is, do we have to just take 32 semester hours, 32 credits only, or are we allowed to take extra courses? So you have to have at least 32 semester hours to graduate. And of course, if you have time, you can get extra courses. The point is that might go, might be detrimental to, if you take 3 classes per semester, for instance. Some of our classes are very challenging. So we discourage students to take more than 2 classes at a time, especially international students, especially students that are not used to the kind of teaching that we do. It can be challenging. I've seen people doing it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Also consider that as a financial impact, of course, because semester hours are costly, and the more you take, the more you need to pay. But if that is no issue, there is no particular.
There's time limitations. I mean, there's time limitations, and if you're on a visa, you have to be working towards degree completion. They don't want to see you just taking classes and get your master's.
Okay, so there is also implication for international students. Okay.
Look at a flexibility
Yeah.
program, but you need to be working towards your degree, completing your degree, and you will have questions of what you're taking, why you're doing the class. This is not going to go towards your degree. So.
But what about the class? But what about classes towards you?
Classes towards your degree?
Yes.
Typically, like you work with an advisor, we look at what classes you want to take, you reach out. Classes that you want to petition, anything like that, we can talk about. But do we waive any core or fundamental requirements? No, we've got to take the classes, how the program is built. We offer flexibility, but they're built for a reason, of course, we've got to take it that way. If that makes sense.
The question is from there are selected courses in the RP which we have to take, but can we take courses on the same selection? So wireless communication system and which are the
So the question is, there are 7 categories and there are multiple courses within one category that might be of interest to you. The situation is the following. In total, you have to take 8 courses and you have to take one of each category, then you have an extra slot. If that extra slot, you want to use it for an additional course in one category, that's perfectly fine. But then you will consume your slot. That's it.
Am I completing the program? Degree completion, make sure we're chipping away at that, and then, does this fit? Yeah. As long as you're completing the degree, and you have room, then you're fine. Always ask questions, so.
We're happy to see that there are more courses that you like than the ones you can take, because we're doing something right.
Yes. The piece you have to be careful about is if you're, let's say, like you had proposed, if the student's taking an extra course, and that's towards your requirements, it's gonna show that you've taken, they've taken 12 credits. So, and it's gonna be counting towards your degree completion, so you really should not be taking any extra courses in your final term. Because usually in your final term, most students, because of the way co-op works sometimes, and if they, students sometimes in their final term only have 1 course left to complete. And that is when we recommend, if they want to take an additional course, that is when to do it.
Okay.
Because otherwise, because you can't ask for a program extension as an international student just to take courses.
Yeah, but in general, I mean, these are all a very good question, but typically students are already challenged by taking 2 courses per semester. So, but it's always a good thing to have multiple interests and have an extra. I agree with you, but traditionally, and as I was saying, I didn't think, honestly speaking, about consequences for international students. But I guess if somebody completes all 32 hours in the first 2 semesters, then maybe they've completed the program legally, and they have consequences in terms of they have to require for the program extension. It's not always guaranteed. You might be asked to. At this point, really, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but it's the advice here is these programs are fairly well structured. Of course, College of Engineering and this department has had master programs structured like this for decades, and this is the usual path that allows you to be successful, allows you to find good co-op, allows you good job interviews, and possible research towards a PhD. Now, good to know, but again, the answer is always double check, always ask the advisor, because there might be some tricky consequences, especially for international students. Any other questions? Yes.
Do we have labs included in our structure, or is it a part of, we have credits, is the 4 credits split into lab theory of a single course?
So it depends on the course. So we don't have courses which are exclusively labs. We have courses that have lectures in a classroom and a component in the lab, and we have courses that are taught in the lab, but they are still not lab courses because there is some connotation. The lab course counts less than a regular course. So all the courses are regular courses.
Yeah.
Some of them have a lab component that you go as part of the lecture or after hours, and some of them, like the one I'm teaching this semester, is taught in the lab because I need you to be in front of equipment while I'm teaching. So it's teaching. It's not you just going in the lab.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll find that it's part of the
Many undergraduate class have a lab associated to it with even a different number and separate credit hours. In these programs in particular, we don't have a separate lab, but since most of these classes are experimental and relatively hands-on, they are taught, as you were saying, in a lab. Yes.
In terms of courses for which we need the requisite units involved.
Yes.
So does requisite already in all courses? How can we get involved in that?
Do you have a prerequisite? So we do have registration override forms.
Yes.
There are prerequisites to courses for a reason. We want to make sure that you're set up for success. If you take the course, you take other classes. However, if there's a class you want to get into, and you believe you've taken some undergrad classes that set you up for that, you could do registration override form, you attach your transcripts, you go to the professor, they take a look, take a look to make sure that you have the correct qualifications to be successful, and then if you pass, you can register for the course.
So the question concerned how to, let's say, override prerequisite for a class if you know already about the topic of the prerequisite. And again, this is a classic question where the advisors, Peter, to begin with, and Leslie will come. This is a classic question that they can answer as he just did, in fact. But yes, in general, you are required to contact the instructor of the class, kind of show them that you know already, that you have already covered maybe in a previous class in your undergraduate study and so on, that you know already the topic. And at that point, there is an override form that you may fill out. Any other questions? Well, again, we are very, very happy that you're here. We are thrilled and very excited to start these two programs with you guys as the first cohort. I assume that each one of you has gotten the bag. That's a welcome bag from the Institute for the Wireless Internet of Things.
At the end of the room, there is one for each of you.
If you have not taken one, please take one, possibly no more than one, because for those students that could not be here today, we have, they can go to Rena and Noah to answer them. This said, thank you. Best of luck with the start. Enjoy your classes. And again, use all these resources that are here for you. Thank you.